we talked about it earlier. I want to get into it now. Your top five offensive tackles, respectively. I will warn, I will advise our viewers here that, and I was a little bit disappointed, but I'm not knocking you guys. I'm just a little disappointed from my own viewership perspective. Not a lot of departures in terms of your rankings here, but there's still a lot of
That
football to be
surprised me
played.
too.
bro.
Yeah,
You
It
just
surprised me
like
because I
you like chaos, bro.
I
You
do.
like, you know what I'm
I do.
saying?
I
You
appreciate it. I appreciate the chaos as it
yeah.
pertains to you guys' rankings. Otherwise, I'm good off the chaos. Be honest with you. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. But before we unveil your top five, who just missed the cut here, Headley, for you?
Just missed the cut. Broderick Jones, spoke about him earlier, the left tackle from Georgia. He keeps putting together games like he has the last couple of weeks. He could potentially get in that top five. Also, I have Darnell Wright, just run right, the big right tackle from Tennessee. And Dawan Jones, another big guy, right tackle for Ohio State. Those three just missed my top five.
What about you, Drew? Who missed the cut?
I got Anton Harrison, Oklahoma. Say Oklahoma State, Oklahoma tackle. Also Dewan Jones. You said him earlier. You know that dude's 6'8", 360, bro.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'm watching the
Monster.
boy and he just be handling
Monster.
people. It's almost like he touched people, bro, and they hit the ground. So I said, let me take a peek and see what the size look like. Cause I know he looked pretty big. I didn't know he was 6'8", bro. I'd probably put him at about 6'6", 6'8", 360. That's huge. And also Blake Freeland, who at one
That's
point
your guy.
that was my number one guy going into the
Hey,
season.
it's an
It's
impressive
crazy.
group. It's an
Yeah.
impressive group.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So at number five, respectively, Drew has Matthew Bergeron from Syracuse. Headley, you have the aforementioned Anton Harrison from Oklahoma. We've talked about Bergeron quite a bit. Headley, I'd like to hear more about what you think about Harrison.
Big guy, packs a big punch. Very solid in small spaces. Seen him against Felix Uzama. He handled his power really well. And Uzama, he's a guy that keeps coming too. So he kept on handling him over and over. He has that power to drive and turn for a pancake. So he's just that physical guy that you like on the outside. But he's not natural in space. He can lose his balance sometimes. But I like what I see from him, man. I think he's one of the top tackles in this class. Number five for me.
All right, moving on to number four, we have Peter Skoronsky for both of you. Drew, your thoughts on Skoronsky?
Yeah, can I want to move into number three, bro.
Okay. All
I
right.
told you I was gonna say it, but no, it's,
All
Drew,
it's
right.
fine. I can talk
Drew,
about him.
Drew.
No, 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 no.
Yo, that's funny. That's funny because
Because
I
you want
had
to
him
move
at
into
three,
three.
and I kept on putting him
But
at
you
the
move.
four, and put a three. I kept on moving them back and forth, and I ended up with Skoronsky at four.
He probably should be at number three.
So who's at number four for you? Actually, Drew.
It would be Jalen Duncan, Maryland.
Jalen Duncan.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So why don't you talk about Skoronsky, Drew?
I think he's probably the most. If I had to start my team today and I had to draft an offensive tackle right now, we had to go out there and fight some dogs.
Yeah, you got to start him day one. You got to start him day one.
It's probably going to be Skoronsky, because he does everything that would you want from the position. The one thing that I wanted to see from him specifically was, does he have some dog in him? Because I didn't see no dog last year. And to start the season, my man, he must have heard me, or somebody told him, bro, I know you over here at Northwestern and y'all over here this law school and you getting your law degree or whatever.
Journalism,
whatever it is, bro. But I need you to put people on the ground. I need some pancakes, and he's done that this season. Good mover, mirrors very well. He's not a guy that you're going to be able to play games with up front. He's going to catch the free guy. He's going to bounce off, get the guy coming to the outside, the guy going to the inside. Hey man, people watched the first game of the season, week 0, and wanted him tackle 1, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he hasn't fallen far from most people's rankings that I've seen, or that that people have talked about. So, and I get it. It makes sense.
All right. Drew happened to call a audible here, but we do have Jalen Duncan as Headley's third offensive tackle prospect to this point. So Duncan is fourth for you, Drew. Skoronsky is actually third. Headley, let's talk about Jalen Duncan.
It's his feet. It's the feet. It's the feet. How he moves. He gets to his landmarks there quickly, and it's an advantage, man. You know, the guy that gets there quickly and is ready. You know, and he gets low, so he wins a lot of battles because he's already there before the pass rusher gets there. And in the run game, could pull. I think he can do power zone.
Yeah.
I think he's scheme versatile. He can play any scheme. So I just like his overall skill set. The country, I think they still sleep on him a little bit, but I think he'll put on a show at the Senior Bowl.
All right. Number 2, the aforementioned Olu Fashanu from Penn State, very young, 19 years old. Headley's already he kind of gave it away already. He said, the highest ceiling,
A little bit.
highest ceiling in the class. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Let's get into Fashanu. There was a favorable comp to Ike Ekwonu and his physicality and what he can do. This is a very young player, and that doesn't always bode well, right? It's particularly in the trenches. Some guys, it's fine that they're good at 20 years old, which I imagine Fashanu will be when he gets drafted. But sometimes it doesn't necessarily work out that way either. But of course, he's turning heads. He is turning heads. And again, you mentioned highest ceiling in the group. Why isn't he number 1?
Oh, for me?
Because the number 1 guy, who are you talking to me?
Yeah, I didn't know.
Whoever listening. Whoever listening.
I just feel the number 1 guy is just like Drew said. If I needed someone to come in right away to start right away, it'll be the number 1 guy. Paris Johnson. I blew the lead a little bit, but that's the guy, man. He's ready. He's NFL ready right now. And even if, say, something happens and he's not the tackle, he could also slide inside and play guard and be a Pro Bowler there also. It's the versatility.
So
that's it.
So is that it for you too, Drew? Is it more about Paris Johnson and less about Olu Fashanu?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Paris Johnson, man, is, to me, he's almost technically sound. I think the biggest issue for me for Johnson is sometimes he don't get to his spot, man, and he can be pushed back. He usually can recover for the most part. But this is also a guy coming from guard and playing tackle. This is not a guy who was playing tackle and is still playing tackle. So, I think that the 2 biggest guys here who have room to grow is Johnson and Olu. Those are the 2 guys who have room to go and actually can separate themselves, if they haven't already, from everybody else because of, they have room to grow. Olu might take it because he's 19. People might already check the box on him because he's 19. I get it.
Untapped potential.
Right, I get it, because it's when he's on, bro. I don't know if there's anybody better than him in the country, right? And we're talking about both in terms of the run, where he's willing to go out, mash, crash, dash, and pancake folks, as well as be back there and put his hands on folks. Obviously, he's got some work to do. I think between him and Jalen Duncan, them 2, they got work to do in terms of getting their hands right and getting it consistent. But this is a really, really good tackle class, and I have a feeling, there are going to be some changes made, big time. Not going to be big time changes, but it's going to be some changes made within this top 5, I think, by season's end.